Hey guys, it's Lyra. Thank you so much for checking out this video. I just wanted to share a couple of tips and tricks that I have learned during my time playing Guardians of Claudia. The two things that I'll be talking about in this video today, which I'm trying to quickly record before God's Clash, is talking about rune and rune materials, as well as pushing the boundaries of what you think your maximum crit rate percentage might be. If you already know and are aware of these tips, that's amazing. And if you did have your own tips and tricks to share, please don't hesitate to leave me a note in the comment box below, and just let me know if I've also missed any areas that you're also aware of. So, for those of you that have seen my tour, my character tour in my previous video, you'll know that the basis of my character damage is on crit damage, and more importantly, crit rate. So my crit rate is currently at 139.3%. There isn't a real maximum ceiling when it comes to crit rate and crit damage. Rule of thumb is that if you are using these as the basis of where your power comes from, is that the higher the better, of course. Now the three basic areas where you get your crit rate percentage from, as you might know, is from your serious runes in page 1 as well as your supreme. So my serious runes have all been washed to the maximum possible percentage stats for crit rate, and they don't currently have sets attached to them, so I'm getting the maximum that I can. So that's the first place. The second place is my Spiramon talent, where my ultimate 6 gives me a crit of 150. And the third generic place is of course your Spiramon mount gear, which is the collar piece. So my collar has all crit rate on it, and no other stats. Now these are the three main areas that you probably know where your crit rate can be boosted. What I wanted to share with you guys today to be mindful of is that there are many other areas that you can actually invest into to keep increasing that crit rate percentage. The first I'm going to talk about is your pet array. Now, bearing in mind every single pet that you have in your array, the placement of them, as well as what each slot can boost is very important. I want to specifically highlight this 4th slot pet. So currently in my 4th slot is my angel pet, and you can see that the aptitudes that this pet boosts is character crit and crit resist. You might think to yourself, okay, so how do I increase this character crit aptitude? And the answer to that is to actually re-roll the pet, even though it's in your array. So you can see that I've actually re-rolled my angel to rank 10, and it's actually the only pet that I have re-rolled, even though it's in my array. So I know that I probably won't have enough to increase it, but you get the idea. Please just bear in mind though that this area gives not the biggest boost, but at least you know that it's still there. At rank 10, I believe my angel aptitude probably only gives me like 1.5% extra crit rate, but it is better than nothing. The second area that provides crit, like an extra crit boost, would be your pet gear. So on my main 3 pets, the pet gear that I have, the important thing to note is that the 3rd piece, so always the bottom right piece, has the potential to provide a character crit stat when you soul craft it. So you'll notice that for all of my main pets, the 3rd slot gear, I have all washed them all to include some kind of character crit towards my Qigong Master. So character crit there, character crit here as well, and even my 3rd pet, which has just a devotion set with no lightning or frost stones, I still have soul crafted to ensure that I get some kind of character crit from it. Okay. Another area that you may already be aware of is your artifact. So I have not invested a lot into my artifact, but just being mindful that there are stones there that boost crit more than others. So if you like, you can review where your artifact is at. And if you did have like the materials to spare, you can max these to give you as much crit as possible. Okay, so ranked artifact 2 does not have any crit rate I mean, but 1 does. 3 does, oops, 4, and I haven't opened up my rank artifact 5, but you get the idea. So there is always little areas within the game that can give you an extra boost. The last one that I'll talk about is your Aegis gear. So weapon does have the potential to give you more crit rate, but number one, Aegis gear is extremely hard to come by, especially the right stats and a high enough star rating for those stats. But if I was to try to get something, I actually wouldn't prefer to get crit rate on my weapon. I would, if by some miracle that I get it, I'd prefer the damage bonus percentage. But just so long as you know that it's there. Okay. And last but not least, the second tip that I wanted to talk about today is about rune materials. Okay. So every time you dismantle an orange rune and above, you should always be refining these with a moonlight bottle. And you get this moonlight bottle when you dismantle a rune that already has an existing set, and you only need one. So by force of habit, I never dismantle an orange or above rune that I don't need until I have refined it with a moonlight bottle, so that it gets a set, and then I'll save that. And only once I have done that, then will I dismantle it. Because the important thing here is that every time you dismantle it with a set, you get a Starlight Stone. So my tip for you is that every single time you refine, please do so with a moonlight bottle so that you can start to bank up your Starlight Stones. This is especially important when you reach the later stages of the game, when you are trying to perfect your runes that have sets. And of course, if you don't want to spend a ridiculous amount of diamonds in refining them by locking the set, it's always best that you have a lot of Starlight Stones on hand. So if you do this for every single rune that you dismantle, you'll definitely bank up quite a lot of Starlight Stones. And again, you only need one moonlight bottle. You can just refine and save and dismantle, refine, save and dismantle. But just be very careful that you don't accidentally dismantle a rune or refine a rune that you actually need, which I've done before, so you can learn from my mistakes. And from that, 7 Starlight Stones already. And that pretty much concludes this video today. Just a short and sweet one, but if you did have anything to share, any comments and whatnot, please don't hesitate, leave me a note. Thanks a lot, guys. See you in God's Clash.